What's up, everyone, and welcome back to our channel for the hottest news. Today, we've got a story that's both hilarious and unexpected, coming straight from the White House and the world of the NFL. Get this. President Donald Trump has just invited the Kansas City Chiefs to the White House. Hold on a second, not for their recent Super Bowl win. We're talking about celebrating their victory at Super Bowl 54. All the way back in 2020. Can you believe the plot twist? Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, what's going on here? Well, back in 2020, after the Chiefs, led by the incredible Patrick Mahomes, triumphed over the San Francisco 49ers in a nail-biting game to become Super Bowl champions. Their traditional White House visit got sidelined by the emerging COVID-19 pandemic. A monumental moment got put on hold indefinitely. But the story takes a surprising turn. President Trump recently reactivated that invitation during an interview. He even jokingly mentioned that the Chiefs had missed their turn. Talk about a special delivery. 5 years in the making. And here's where it gets even juicier. This invitation comes shortly after President Trump also announced he'd be hosting the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that just defeated the Chiefs in Super Bowl 59 this past February. Could this be a subtle scoreboard situation? Or just a funny coincidence? Let's not forget that after their back-to-back Super Bowl victories in 2023 and 2024, the Chiefs had some memorable visits to the White House under President Joe Biden. We all remember Travis Kelce almost taking over the podium, pure entertainment. As of now, there's no official word on whether the Chiefs will accept this rather unique invitation. And the date for this makeup visit remains unannounced. But this story definitely adds an interesting chapter to the history of the team and the sometimes unpredictable world we live in. So, what do you guys think about President Trump's unexpected invitation? Should the Chiefs make the trip to the White House after all this time? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for the latest and most exciting sports news. See you in the next video. What's going on, NFL fans? The Aaron Rodgers saga continues to be a major talking point. And now a Hall of Famer is weighing in with some strong opinions. Former Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Michael Irvin has made it clear he's getting tired of the drawn-out process surrounding Rodgers' playing future. Irvin recently appeared on Up and Adams with Kay Adams and didn't hold back his thoughts on the four-time MVP. He stated that he initially liked the idea of Rodgers potentially joining the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially when it seemed like Rodgers was ready to come in and do what was needed. However, with the decision dragging on, Irvin believes Rodgers is once again making it all about himself. Irvin referenced comments from Steelers All-Pro defensive tackle Cam Hayward, who recently said, "Come on, man, if you don't want to play for us, let me know." Irvin feels that Rodgers' delay is forcing this kind of ultimatum and questions whether this approach will work in Pittsburgh, emphasizing that any team Rodgers joins now might wonder if it's about the team or just about Rodgers himself. Irvin thought Pittsburgh would have been a great fit. The article does note that Rodgers recently visited the Steelers facility for 6 hours. And despite leaving without a contract, NFL Network insider Ian Rapoport believes the meeting went really well. Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk even thinks it's a safe bet that Rodgers ends up in Pittsburgh. But the timing remains uncertain. Cam Hayward himself addressed his earlier comments, clarifying that he didn't intend to put Rodgers on notice. He simply stated that he wouldn't be going to any darkness retreats to recruit him and that the pitch is simple. If Rodgers wants to be a Steeler, the opportunity is there. Ultimately, it seems Aaron Rodgers is in no rush to make a decision. And this is clearly starting to frustrate some, including Hall of Famer Michael Irvin. We'll have to wait and see how much longer this saga continues and where Rodgers will ultimately land, if anywhere, for the upcoming NFL season. What do you think about Irvin's comments? Is he right, or is Rodgers entitled to take his time with such a big decision? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more NFL news and updates. What's cooking in the Steel City? The Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation has taken a fascinating turn. For weeks, the focus has been on whether Aaron Rodgers would land in the black and gold. But now, a new wrinkle. It sounds like Russell Wilson could be just as likely an option, especially when you factor in the money. Reports suggest that both Rodgers and Wilson could command somewhere in the $25 to $30 million per year range. When you consider the recent contracts for guys like Justin Fields and Sam Darnold, that ballpark for these two veteran quarterbacks makes sense. So, if the money is essentially the same, who do the Steelers want leading their offense in 2025? Both Rodgers and Wilson are undeniable future Hall of Famers with Super Bowl rings. Rodgers is a bit older and has more mileage, but he also boasts a superior collection of individual awards, including 4 MVPs. Neither is quite the player they were in their prime. So the question becomes, who makes the Steelers a better team next season? Initially, Wilson seemed like the safer, more palatable choice, but with the financial aspect potentially being equal. Is that still the case? One major issue for the Steelers' offense last year was Wilson's tendency to hold onto the ball too long and take unnecessary hits. On the other hand, Aaron Rodgers, wherever he goes, is going to run the offense his way. He'll spread the ball around as he sees fit and won't let any offensive scheme limit his playmaking. That kind of freedom and control might be exactly what the Steelers' offense needs to unlock its full potential in 2025. It's a tough call for the Steelers. Do they go with the slightly younger, perhaps more mobile Wilson, or do they gamble on the potentially higher ceiling, albeit with more risk, of Aaron Rodgers? With the money seemingly out of the equation, this quarterback decision for the Steelers just got a whole lot more intriguing. So, the quarterback carousel continues to spin, and we now have some insight into why the Pittsburgh Steelers missed out on signing veteran quarterback Sam Darnold. Darnold, as you know, ended up inking a deal with the Seattle Seahawks, a 3-year contract worth a hefty $110.5 million. And while it might seem like money talks, a recent report suggests that wasn't the deciding factor for Darnold. According to Sports Illustrated insider Albert Breer, Darnold actually liked the idea of playing for the Steelers. However, the sticking point wasn't the salary, it was about the long-term vision. Or perhaps the lack thereof. From Pittsburgh's perspective, Breer reports that Darnold was looking for a team that would give him a legitimate shot to prove himself as a viable long-term option. And apparently, the Steelers weren't exactly offering that guarantee. Breer suggests that Darnold felt he wouldn't necessarily get that opportunity with the Minnesota Vikings either. But his negotiations with the Steelers gave him no assurance of being seen as more than a short-term solution. The Seattle Seahawks, on the other hand, were willing to give him every chance to be that guy. The potential franchise quarterback. This report implies that the Steelers might have been viewing Darnold as more of a placeholder for the 2025 season. This makes sense when you consider that the Steelers have been in a bit of quarterback purgatory since Ben Roethlisberger retired. Plus, there's speculation that the 2026 NFL Draft could be rich with quarterback talent, suggesting the Steelers might be eyeing a younger prospect down the line. However, Darnold, coming off what many considered a breakout season with the Vikings where he threw for career-high numbers, understandably wasn't interested in being labeled a mere bridge quarterback. He likely feels he's finally living up to the hype of being the number 3 overall pick from way back in 2018. So, the Steelers are now left still waiting on Aaron Rodgers to make his decision. And if they end up missing out on Rodgers as well, they might just be kicking themselves for not offering Darnold the long-term commitment he was seeking. Especially considering he's 14 years younger than the future Hall of Famer. It's a fascinating glimpse into the behind-the-scenes of NFL free agency and the different priorities for teams and players when it comes to the most important position on the field. Hold on to your hats, Giants fans, because there's a trade proposal floating around that's either genius or completely insane. FS1's Craig Carton recently threw out a wild idea: the New York Giants trading a king's ransom. We're talking 3 future first-round draft picks to the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for their quarterback, Brock Purdy. Let's dive into this hypothetical head-scratcher. Carton's reasoning? Well, he suggests the 49ers would then turn around and sign veteran quarterback Aaron Rodgers for the 2025 season. It's a bold strategy. Cotton, let's see if it pays off. Now, on paper, you can see the appeal for the Giants. Purdy has shown he can lead a team to the Super Bowl, racking up impressive passing numbers and demonstrating a knack for efficient play. He's also got experience throwing to top-tier receivers, so the idea of him linking up with the Giants' potential new weapon Malik Neighbors and Darius Slayton is intriguing. Purdy could potentially bring some much-needed stability and resilience under center for the Giants. However, let's pump the brakes on this fantasy for a second. The reality of this trade actually happening seems incredibly slim. For the Giants to give up 3 future first-round picks for Purdy would be a massive gamble, potentially crippling their ability to build a strong roster through the draft for years to come. Plus, let's not forget that Brock Purdy is arguably an elite quarterback in the making. The 49ers would be downright crazy to trade away a player of his caliber, especially as he's just entering what should be his prime years. In fact, the 49ers are reportedly already in negotiations to sign Purdy to a new long-term deal, and they expect to reach an agreement in the coming months. So, unless those negotiations hit a major snag and Purdy suddenly becomes available on the trade block, this scenario seems highly unlikely. While the Giants are widely expected to draft a quarterback with the number 3 overall pick this year, the idea of trading away so much future capital for Purdy seems like a desperate move. They might be better off exploring other veteran options in free agency or simply developing their rookie quarterback. So, while the thought of Brock Purdy leading the Giants might be exciting for some, the price tag of 3 first-round picks makes this mock trade feel more like a wild fantasy than a realistic possibility. It's certainly fun to talk about, though. Who's already got their eyes on the Super Bowl for the 2025 NFL season? Well, none other than Hall of Fame wide receiver Michael Irvin, and his pick might just raise a few eyebrows, or at least get Bengals fans roaring. Irvin recently appeared on the Up and Adams show, and didn't hesitate to name the Cincinnati Bengals as a team firmly in the Super Bowl hunt. Despite some offseason chatter, Irvin believes the Bengals made the smart move by investing big in their star wide receiver duo, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. When Kay Adams asked point-blank if the Bengals could capture the Lombardi Trophy next season, Irvin didn't flinch. His answer? A resounding, absolutely. Irvin's reasoning is pretty straightforward. Points win championships. Points. Let's not get it twisted. He emphasizes the Bengals' explosive offensive firepower with Chase and Higgins, along with their quarterback, who we all know is Joe Burrow. Though Irvin doesn't explicitly say his name in this clip, Irvin believes that with that kind of scoring potential, they can figure out the defense later. He even pointed out that the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl previously with what some considered a historically bad offensive line, and they did it because of those key offensive pieces. Now, with some changes happening in Cincinnati, Irvin is even more bullish on their chances. And it's easy to see why Irvin is so high on the Bengals receiving tandem. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins have consistently been one of the most dominant wide receiver duos in the entire NFL since they were drafted. Last season alone, Chase had an incredible year, practically winning the receiving triple crown. Higgins, even in fewer games, put up impressive numbers as well. The Bengals recently locked both Chase and Higgins into significant long-term contract extensions, showing their commitment to keeping this dynamic duo together. While the focus might be shifting to the defensive side of the ball now, with a new defensive coordinator in Al Golden and the number 17 overall pick in the upcoming draft, the Bengals' offense is undoubtedly their strength. So, according to Michael Irvin, don't count out the Cincinnati Bengals for a Super Bowl run in 2025. With their star-studded receiving core and a determination to score points, they might just be the team to watch in the AFC.